Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the layers of retina on OCT, which is the optical coherence tomography. First, we will discuss the layers of the retina as in the histopathology. We know that the retinal nerve fibers layer further go into form into the optic nerve. So we are going to study the layers of the retina here from the vitreous to here at the outermost layer of the eye. So the first layer is the nerve fiber layer, which is made of the axons of the ganglion cell layers. After the ganglion cell layer comes the inner plexiform and then the inner nuclear layers. The outer plexiform and then the outer nuclear layers, and then photoreceptor outer segments, retinal pigment epithelium, the Brooks and the choroid. In the layers of the retina, an important thing to remember is the plexiform layer always is inner to the nuclear layer. So P is always inner to the N. Inner plexiform is inner nuclear is outer to plexiform, and similarly the outer plexiform and the outer nuclear layers. Now let's look at their representation on the OCT imaging. So here we have a OCT, which stands for optical coherence tomography of the macula. We can see first
The OCT, which is the optical coherence tomography of the macula, has four reflective layers, which are the external limiting membrane marked in yellow, the ellipsoid zone marked in blue, and the interdigitation zone marked in red, and the RPE Brooks complex, which is marked in green. These are the four hyperreflective layers of the retina. Coming to the other layers of the retina, here we have the innermost is the nerve fiber layer, then comes the ganglion cell complex. After the outer to the ganglion cell complex is the inner plexiform, and then the inner nuclear layer, and then the outer plexiform, and then the outer nuclear layers. As we had already discussed, that it is important to remember that the plexiform layers are inner and the nuclear layers are outer. And another thing to remember here is that all the plexiform layers, you can see here tracing the plexiform layer, are grayish, while the nuclear layers are blacker or hypo reflective. So the plexiform layers are inner, the nuclear layers are outer. The nuclear layers are hyporeflective relative to the plexiform layers, and there are the four hyperreflective layers of the retina. So coming here, this is a absolutely fresh OCT imaging of the macula. As we can see, when describing an OCT macula, first we comment on the vitreous, the posterior hyaloid if there is an attachment of it, and then we'll start with the layers. Let's discuss the four hyperreflective layers first. Okay, so here we go. So this is the first hyperreflective layer, which is the external limiting membrane. The second hyperreflective layer, which is the ellipsoid zone. The next hyperreflective layer, which is the interdigitation zone. And the fourth is the RPE Brooks complex. The other layers of the retina is the nerve fiber layer, the ganglion cell layer, the inner nuclear layer, the inner plexiform layer, the inner nuclear layer, the outer plexiform layer, outer nuclear layer, and then this is again the hyperreflective layer, which is the external limiting membrane. So with this we complete the very basics of the OCT macula. Thank you.